Hello everyone, welcome to another Warhammer Noosphere podcast. My name is Nathan, aka Conquistador, and I'm joined today by Dan, aka Little Willie.
Yo.
And Hames, aka the Mad Megos.
Hey, I'm employed.
Yes. A quick heads up, our game next week will be delayed to Thursday at 7 PM instead of Wednesday at 7 PM, so just keep an eye out for that, because I know quite a few people sometimes have it preloaded and ready to go for when we go live, but it'll be the day after because work. But we'll be playing on the Jubilee of our Queen. I won't say dear Queen because, you know, let them eat cake.
What?
Yeah, anyway, before we go into the depths of hell, how are we doing?
Peachy.
What, Dad?
Great.
What did James say?
Great.
I said go on, Dan.
Oh, thought it was some kind of nukey saying. Like Guadad.
Nuki Brun.
What does that mean? What language is this?
Why I?
Yeah.
He's just saying noises.
Yeah.
Whose keys are these keys?
What does that even mean?
Whose keys do these keys belong to?
Oh, I see.
AKA, whose keys are these keys?
I see. It's a bit like Tin Tin Tin, isn't it?
Yeah, and like different dunches. No? Anything? Different dunches?
He lost us.
Don't knock into me. Different dunches.
What the fuck? It's not even close. It's not even close. Anyway.
Different, aka don't. And dunch, aka dunch.
Dunch on these nuts.
Yeah.
Dunch on these nuts. That's what she said.
We'll work that into a fucking battle rep somehow. Anyway, today we're talking about Armour Contempt. It has been sufficient time. We've had sufficient weeks to poke and prod at it in various games. We've had some tournament data and all of that stuff. So we thought we would dedicate a podcast to Armour Contempt, our thoughts and feelings and deep emotions, hatred or love. What was that?
I'm sorry, I'm just getting keen. I just want to kind of say, in a way...
I thought you were getting stabbed.
Was I skin stabbed? No, my skin's alright, thanks. I haven't been flayed recently. Thanks for asking.
What is going
I
on?
don't know, dude. He's saying words and making noises. I can't tell what are words and what are noises.
What words? Not why. You said something about skin, and I said no. I haven't been flayed anytime soon.
You went, ah, and I was like, "Are you getting stabbed?"
Oh, it's all falling apart before it's even
I
begun.
know. You were saying.
Well, sorry.
Before you were
Yes,
stabbed.
I wanted to say a thing about Armour Contempt. So, what the guys obviously that are listening potentially don't know is that Nathan sent out a Blood Angels list that placed quite well, from what I understand.
Top 8. It's currently
top 8,
first, but we don't know because I haven't seen the standings as of the last game yet.
Now, I said about Space Marine inside a Space Marine carrier, aka what do you call them? The fucking the mini baby carriers.
The mini baby.
Dread Knights? Oh,
No, the
you're on
mini-
about the war suits.
Centurions, yes.
Oh,
Centurions.
never mind. You're talking about... Yeah, I thought you were talking about the Invictus war suits.
No, I'm talking about the Space Marine inside of a Space Marine. Yo, bro. So yeah, the Centurions, and I said they might be a thing with Armour of Contempt, and you went, nah, too slow, won't get up the board often enough. This kid's rocking, what, is it 3 or 6 of them?
Let me have a quick perusal. It is a squad of 1, 2, 3, 4, and
It's a squad of 4.
They have flamers and siege drills.
Yeah, which is what I said, and you went, don't be
5,
ridiculous,
sorry,
they're
5.
too slow.
Flamers, hurricane bolters, and siege drills.
Yeah. So they're your mid-board grabbers. But I just want to say, when Armour of Contempt first dropped, I said Centurions, and you two went, no, the shit, they're not
to
quick
your
enough.
superior knowledge of Space Marines.
it's kind of. I just want to. I'm just gloating because you two are the king dingalings of list building, and I'm
I wouldn't.
the cheesy taco on the side. But like when I get me moment, I will seize it.
No, I reject your reality.
I am not a cheesy taco.
No, I'm a cheesy taco.
Oh, I see.
I love cheesy tacos.
Do love me some tacos. My wife hates tacos because I make them so
Hey.
often.
Tuesday.
She's like,
Hey.
tacos again.
Hey, we getting a Taco Bell in Grantham. It's
Ooh,
gonna be
yeah.
great,
Yeah, boy.
Millie was like so sad when I said that. She was like, no more.
Me and Vicky are stoked,
Dude,
man.
my
We can't
butthole is
wait.
going to be wrenched from my body when Taco Bell comes to town.
Oh, it's gonna be so worth it, Nathan. We gotta hit up the Taco Bell when it opens, man.
Gotta hit that shit.
Speaking of
Anyway.
assholes ripping open, the guy took an assault intercessor squad, which I found quite interesting.
Mm,
I mean, it's Blood Angels, right?
Yeah.
so it's worth it.
But oh my god,
what
have
you
you ever
said-
seen so many fucking Sanguinary Guard in your life?
They're fair and balanced. Dude.
3
What
squads
about-
of 7. Just swords. All swords.
It's a solid meta shout.
Yeah, 5 minus 3 flat 2, is that in Carmine swords? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Plus 1 to wound.
Ah, yes, of course. Because reason.
I'd say it's the +1 on the win on
Yeah.
charges now. That's
Yeah, plus 1 to wound on the charges. Plus 1.
Many attacks. Handle it.
Plus 1 on the assault phase. Yeah. So plus 1 attack. Plus 1 to the wound roll. You minus 1 to hit them in the assault phase.
Yep. What does
yeah.
this here? Where is it? Ancient do with Soul Warden?
Sanguinary Ancient. So,
What's
the Soul Warden is protect 5 up invul against
5 uphill, no pain against mortals.
mortals. Yeah.
Okay.
Which again, I called and you said situational, but it is true. I think it's just with the amount of mortal wounds that are being dished out left, right, and centre by the other top tier lists, AK, NIDS, Eldar, that kind of thing. It's probably worth taking on one of your HQs.
Yeah.
They're also plus 1 attack if they are around the Warlord.
Which
So
is
whoever you know,
Dante.
so
Right?
the Sanguinary Guard, yeah. So is he running Dante as the Warlord though? Because a lot of people don't. Because if you take Dante as the Warlord, you get plus 1 command point.
Dante, Warlord.
Yeah. So
doesn't he have to be a warlord?
no, he doesn't have to be. No, he doesn't. But if
He's
you
not
take him as your Warlord,
yeah.
you get plus 1 command point. And this is the thing with the Blood Angels. The Blood Angels don't have any option to farm command points.
No.
So whatever you start with is you're stuck with for the game. But obviously Dante gives you the chapter master element of the rerolls, and then he also gives you rerolls of 1 within so many inches. Because this is the thing, I had a look at him and I was missing out on that. I didn't realise because he has the chapter master keyword, you get the chapter master benefits as per Codex Space
Select a
Marines.
squad for 4 rerolls and still gives out the aura for reroll ones. Yep.
And then he still gives out the aura for reroll ones on top for everything that's around him. And then, like I say, Sanguinary Guard, plus 1 attack if they're within 6 inches of the Warlord.
Which they should be.
Yeah, like I say, so then you've got 3 squads, like I say, with swords, plus 1 attack, plus 2 attacks on the charge, plus 3 attacks if it's in the assault phase, or you've the Sanguinary Priests giving them plus that. So at that point, I think is it 4, 5, 7 attacks on the charge?
Something ridiculous.
Something stupid like that. 7 attacks on the charge. Fucking most things you're wounding on 2s or 3s. And then it's AP minus 4. Because it's minus 3 from the power sword plus 1 minus AP.
From
Red Thirst.
gives you plus 1 AP.
That's what I'm saying. So it's minus AP 3 from the power sword, plus 1 AP from Red Thirst, so it's AP minus 4.
Oh shit! Fair enough.
Damn.
Yeah.
I've been reading up in the meantime, man. I know I've been null and absent, but like I've I've tried to.
Man's doing his homework.
Yeah. I mean,
I've tried to.
as a general, like moving away from Blood Angels specifically, as a
Yeah,
general
of course, yeah.
consensus, do we think Armour of Contempt solved the problem of Space Marines being shit?
It
No.
solved one problem and opened up another, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the thing, right? The whole point of the Space Marines and the power armor has been up until 9th edition is right. They don't have wounds, but they are generally tougher and have a very good save. But as the weapon powers and damage
AP creep
and AP crept up, all of a sudden their 3-up regular save didn't mean shit when everyone's rocking AP -3 damage to weapons, right? So now that they got their little buff, they're pretty ridiculous. I mean, we've seen it, right? You firing strength 14 AP -5 weapons a unit of Scarab Occult Terminators in cover, and they're still saving on a 5-up, right? And that's ignoring invulns. So it solved the problem for Space Marines, but again, in my opinion, it opened up the problem of it's just this constant creep and cat and mouse game of, oh, the things are too tanky. Oh, now the weapons are too strong. Oh, now things are too tanky. Oh, now weapons are too strong. It seems like Games Workshop hasn't quite found the balance, but I think I'm making it sound worse than it is. I think it's in a good spot. It just skews what weapons people bring, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
Do you know what's really interesting is the fact that, from a commercial point of view, they've brought Primaris on board in the last 2-3 years. But then with the latest balance update, including Armour of Contempt, it's the firstborn Marines that are taking centre stage. It's your Terminators and, like you say, your Centurion Warsuits.
Yeah.
Your,
I mean,
Sanguinary Guard, but that's because it's anything that's, been lacking
the 2-up save.
A 2-up save, yeah, exactly. And obviously, your Bogstand Primaris don't have a 2-up save, so like I say, it's interesting. The problem with Space Marines in general is they are supposed to be the baseline that everything else is then based around from a game point of view. But from a lore point of view, they're supposed to be like A tier 24/7. And the reality is, between the lore and then the rules, they end up being one faction because of the amount of variance and variables within the rules. You end up with, like, Iron Hands were like OP for all of 5 minutes at the beginning of 9th, and then now they're like shite. All of a sudden, Blood Angels with this Armour of Contempt have gone through the roof because Sanguinary Guard were horrible, and now all of a sudden they're invincible. Well, not invincible, but you get what I mean. It's the same with Terminators. Like, nobody took a Terminator squad for love and money. All of a sudden now, you've got, like you say, Thousand Suns running nothing but Terminators, and then other generic Space Marines running nothing.
Sorry, Thousand Suns, I wouldn't really count into.
They already took Terminators.
It's because it's not. They have a much more limited
roster
of units. Yeah, so it's and for them, the Terminators have always been really good.
Then they've got OBSEC.
Then Nurgle Terminators got OBSEC, and now all of a sudden they've got OBSEC plus Armour of Contempt. So you've got that. The Chaos side are definitely doing all right in the interim period. Obviously, they've got their new codex to drop shortly. But out of all of the loyalist Space Marine factions, I'd probably say Blood Angels and White Scars are probably coming out on top.
That's what I was going to say. Every faction that has benefited from Armour of Contempt the most have been melee factions.
Yeah, of course.
The shooting Space Marine and other Imperial factions that got Armour of Contempt, like specifically shooting style lists, it didn't help.
I disagree. But that's mainly because when it comes to shooting Space Marines armies, you have only one choice. Well, let's call it a 1.5 choice. But it's not Ultramarines. They really don't count. They're more of a mixed bag. No, it's Iron Hands.
I was going to say Iron Hands, and who's the half? Because it can't be Imperial thing.
No, the other half I would count as Death Watch. Right. But they're a lot more mixed.
But you're right. Death Watch can shenanigans the rule. That makes sense. No, I totally agree with you on that.
But no, they're just not very like Space Marines are just oddly enough not very good at shooting, except for Iron Hands, which I think are exceptionally strong at the moment. It's just they're not very popular as a faction.
The main issue with Iron Hands is they need to get all their shooting over and done with and being made effective turn 1 because of that chapter tactic of
the chapter tactic. I mean, they can push things in the chapter tactic later on, but it's not that they're just really tanky because they already have the inbuilt stuff, but they require your Leviathans are really good in there and stuff like that, which I think a lot of people just don't have. Like, not many people rock fucking 3 Leviathans, do they? So, or own 3 Leviathans, stuff like that. So.
Yeah, you're right. It's Leviathans, Redemptors.
I mean, think about that right now. Like, going up against like a Leviathan right now is just not what you want. You're not going to shift that thing, right? 14 wounds, T7. Was it in build 5 up, feel no pain? Right, that's what they get. You can put the relics on them. It becomes
you load them up with a twin like auto cannon arms. And you stick a Tech Marine next to them and awaken them so they're hitting on 2s. Like, it is literally a Storm of Fire turn 1. And then, like you say, between that and probably now you would soup in a shitload of Terminators, as many squads of Terminators as you can, which are either shuffling up the board or deep striking. I actually think Iron Hands would probably benefit from the Centurions as well, depending on how you use them.
Centurions, no, because they're not heavy weapons. Iron Hands doesn't give a shit unless you've got heavy weapons.
They have the heavy weapons variant.
You stick las cannons on your Centurions.
Nah, people aren't running las
cannons. I don't expect people.
Las cannons on the arms, or grav cannons on the arms.
Grav cannons, yes. Las cannons, God no. D6 damage.
So
fuck that.
Grav cannons on the arms and fucking missile launchers on the chest instead of the heavy or even bolters. To be fair,
hurricane bolters, yes.
So you run grav cannon, grav amp, and hurricane bolters, and they're getting the Armour of Contempt plus the Iron Hands bonus, like 5 up, fail no pain. Black Templars, like will.
They're not doing so great.
Really?
Yeah, no, they're not.
They're not bad.
They did not benefit as much as many other
Space Marine factions. They've got the fucking universal 5 up invul, haven't they?
No. They're not running that anymore.
Right.
Because then they don't get the benefit of light cover.
Yeah, which is better.
Light cover is now more important than a 5 up invul.
Right.
Their win rate plummeted to 40%.
Damn. So what do they run? Which vow do they take instead of the...
That's the thing. Not many players really know which one to take because all the other vows are kind of...
shit.
The downsides to them are a little bit shitty. And the benefit isn't all that. So Black Templars are in a really weird spot where they kind of don't have much of an identity right now because of Armour of Contempt and it being more of a benefit to others.
Like I say, I think the main winners, from a loyalist point of view, the main winners are Dark Angels, White Scars, and Blood Angels.
No, I think all of them benefit.
But
Salamanders are very strong.
Yeah, all right. I'll give you salamanders.
Deathwatch
We're talking
are
about the biggest
backbreaking.
winners, though. The biggest winners.
Yeah,
It's
the biggest
definitely-
winners.
The biggest winners, definitely salamanders, definitely Deathwatch, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, White
That's what
Scars.
I said.
Dark Angels have definitely been tearing shit up.
Yeah, I would say that. Like, if you look at from where they were to where they are now, as far as the Armour of Contempt is like done them favors, I would say Dark Angels, Blood Angels, either White Scars or Deathwatch. Like, those are the three that I would expect have took the biggest jump. And from what the little research that I've done, they seem to have. Like, Blood Angels, and again, I'm not just harping on about them because I'm a Blood Angels fan, but Blood Angels were like in the bottom 20%. And now all of a sudden, like you say, you're hearing them coming 8th in the GT, and their win ratio was taking a considerable increase. Nathan knows playing Dark Angels with Armour of Contempt is just like
It's fucking abysmal. It's painful.
exactly.
Not only are they saving everything on 3s or 4s, but you can't fucking wound them for love nor money.
Exactly.
And there's 30 of them.
There you go.
30 of those fucks, and they've all got chain fists.
And I understand where, again, for the same reason, where Dan's coming across with Deathwatch. Like, they are nasty. I just think, again, White Scars, the fact that they can move.
I don't know. I feel like
assault and move, advance and assault. I think there's a clever list in there somewhere.
with who? Sorry.
White Scars.
It's not a clever list. The list is literally a brick of 10 Terminators, 2 big bricks of Van Vets, and an apothecary with selfless healer and whatever it is. Chief.
Yeah, I know. They're good. Again, I feel like Deathwatch are super underrated and flying under the radar.
The problem with Deathwatch is they're incredibly hard to play.
I did say Deathwatch are benefited.
They are hard to play, but that's no.
Do you know how many players are currently playing Deathwatch in tournaments? 7.
Yeah, they're definitely very niche, but I think that's why they're flying over the radar. People are not really feel like they're not quite.
Again, it's what you always say. It's what you always say, Dan. Like, about the whole competitive play. Like, it's a snapshot, and it's not. It's naturally skewed because the best players will play the best factions.
Yeah, of course.
And like you say, Deathwatch. Not Deathwatch. Yeah, Deathwatch.
Deathwatch.
They're a very finicky.
They're very cerebral.
Yeah. I think they're in the same lines as like GSC. Like, you've got to be a very clever player, and you've got to know the list inside out to maximize it. But you know, if you know how to play it, you are unstoppable.
I've been on the receiving end.
Yeah.
I know you have, which is why I'm saying what I'm saying, because
they're terrifying. Well, put it this way, right? We're talking about all the different chapters and what they bring to the table. And then you play Deathwatch, and you're like, well, I kind of have all of that. I can play White Scars if I need to. I can have that devastating turn 1 advanced charge bullshit. Or was that my opponent's? My opponent's got lots of rerolls. What, you want to cast? You want to cast Doom? What if I just switch to Salamanders? Sorry, no rerolls for you.
But the thing is, though, it's a lot of. That's what I'm saying. It's a complex army. Like, you've got to be a good player on point to play them effectively.
Sure.
Because all of the shenanigans comes within remembering rules. It's not as simplistic as like you say. I mean, even we've discovered Blood Angels like have layers upon layers upon layers, but at the end of the day, you can still play them like, as me and Nathan used to say, connect 4.
Yeah, but I don't want to.
Yeah, you can play simply with them.
What I'm getting at is, just because an army is harder to play doesn't mean it's any. It's bad. It's same with like 1,000 Suns, right? We have a lot of experience with 1,000 Suns at the moment and playing against 1,000 Suns. You don't see 1,000 Suns. It's not just Henry. You don't see 1,000 Suns very often, right? but we've seen what good players do with 1,000 Suns, and it's pretty fucking terrifying.
Oh, without shadow. And like I say, I think
so.
Again,
I like to judge an army based on its maximum ceiling potential,
I hope
not
you're ready
like
to be
average.
terrified soon. Anyway, carry on.
Takes practice. Takes practice.
Grey Knights. Also.
Yeah.
yeah.
Let me just reiterate that Grey Knights can cast as many of the same Sanctic power per phase as they wish. It just gets +1 added to its cast, kind of like Smite. One of their Sanctic powers is +1 to the armor save. Paladins and other such Terminators have a 2-up armor save. If you cast Armour of Contempt on them, they go to a 1-up save. If they're in cover, they go up to a 0-up save. If they're in the Tide of Shadows, they're -1 to hit outside of 12. And if they're already receiving the benefit of cover, they then get -1 to hit on top of that. So
-3.
They ignore the first 3 AP, then -1 to hit, and obviously Apothecary things.
Yes. Grey Knights are the new Custodies.
They are just better in every way to Custodies.
Actually, to be fair, it's nice to see Grey Knights take their time in the spotlight.
What? They've been amazing for fucking ages.
No, they haven't.
What? Where you been?
Okay. They've been amazing since I handed the army over to you, or probably 6 months prior to that.
Yeah, dude, they've been wrecking people's teeth for like months with.
Yeah, but like in the grand scheme of things, like if you go back 3 years, this is the best they've ever been in at least 3 to 5 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you've been a solid Grey Knight player for the last 5-6 years, like you've never experienced anything like you're experiencing right now with Grey Knights. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, such ecstasy, such excess.
No, honestly, fair play. Because everybody, and I know we bitch and complain about like, oh, the meta and but like every army does need to see its time in the sun.
Yeah, I don't think the meta is that.
The meta's fine right now, personally speaking.
It's pretty.
Aside from Nids just needing a points adjustment, and Imperial Guard needing a fucking codex, things aren't terrible.
Your Space Marines needing a codex.
Yeah. Speaking of Chaos Space Marines needing a codex,
and Custodies needed a new codex.
Well, Custodies need something. I don't know what it is. Speaking of Armour Contempt and the new Chaos Space Marines codex, you know what else is hard to shift with Armour Contempt? I'll give you a hint.
Fucking dreadnought thing.
Give you a hint. It's toughness 9. It's got 30 wounds. It's got 2 void shields.
What, the big tank with the big axe thing?
Axe?
No, he's thinking of the Lord of Skulls.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of, the Lord of Skulls.
He doesn't have 30. Wait, does he have 30 wounds?
Nah, he's got 24.
Yeah, he's not toughness 9, he's T8.
So who's got... Alright, okay, so who's got 30
2
wounds?
models who've got T9. Do you know what they are?
Fucking... blood letter, like fucking... What do you call them? The big badass blood letter that fought Sanguinius?
I believe one of them is a demon.
Yeah, that's who I'm on about.
No, it's definitely not Khorne.
The Death God.
Skibiathrax.
Skibiathrax, yeah. Not Death God.
The Nurgle, but the big Nurgle demon.
That's the big Nurgle demon, right?
777 points.
I was going to say Kabadon or
Kabunda. No, definitely not. Cowabunga, dude.
Yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
does not have T9. Did they nerf it?
Who doesn't have T9?
Skibiathrax. He's T8.
Really?
What the fuck?
Rip Scabby.
Oh, shit.
Right, get to the point.
Oh, it's the Mastodon.
Mastodon? What? The Mastodon tank?
Yep.
Yeah, the transport. The thickest transport.
Yeah, the big fucking daddy. I thought you were getting one of them for your corn army.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
T9,
Because
30 wounds.
there's only two armies that take a Mastodon, and that's Iron Hands and fucking.
Well,
Nobody takes a Mastodon.
nobody takes a Mastodon.
No one's sane.
What, with all them heavy weapons? That thick daddy.
I mean, it's 800 points of not OBSEC. But it's fun.
Well, you can put him on a point. Good luck taking a point off him. He
I was going to
covers
say,
the point
it's
and
800 points of controlling the centre objective and saying fuck you for the rest of the game.
I mean, you're controlling half the board at that point.
Yeah.
Yes,
You know what I mean? You just do a handbrake turn, and at that point you're going, fuck you.
Yeah. I mean, it's technically 36 wounds because of the void
Damn.
shields. But it's got a 2-up save, T9. 5-up invuln. And then the cool thing is if you shoot a melter gun or a las cannon at a void shield, if you do 6 damage, the damage does not spill over. It just destroys the void shield, and then the excess damage goes nowhere. And then the next turn, the void shield regenerates back to 3 points.
Regenerates back there, yeah.
It's kind of it's memesy. I'll give it that.
Filth.
It's memesy. It also
does it still have the rule where it's got a if you want to embark on it, it's got a point at the rear that you can embark on, and then the next turn you can disembark from the front of it.
No, that's not a rule. You can disembark and embark wherever you want.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So you embark within an inch.
Yep.
At the end of your movement phase thing, they're then classed as embarked.
Yeah, and then you disembark.
The thing's about 14. The thing's about 14 inches long.
Yeah.
So then you disembark at the front of it 3 inches away, so 14. So you've got a 17-inch move within turn.
Plus their base move as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you park it in the middle, and then it's like a fucking.
It's like the Eurotunnel.
Yeah, it's like, you know what I mean? You chuck them in at one end and then spill out at the other end. Fucking Terminators, lightning claws, and all that shenanigans. Fuck you. Like, you're clearly either going to be running Huron Blackheart and the Red Corsairs, or bloody when he comes out. Not Mortarian. Fucking hell, man.
Thick Daddy.
World Eaters.
I know who you're talking about.
Big Daddy, World Eaters, Big Daddy, and a shitload of Terminators and fucking Corn Berserkers. Angron. Thank you, Daniel.
Angron, the angry man.
Angron, the angry man. Teleporting through a fucking
Getting his ass beat in demon form.
Honestly,
by,
genuinely, that is a meta skew right there. Like, I would love to see you take that to a tournament.
I wouldn't.
It'd be funny. It's funny as
So my list is a Mastodon, 30 Berserkers, and 10 Terminators with some 2 squads of Warp Talons for objective pinching, and a couple of HQs, including Khan and a Chaos Terminator. Khan gives reroll 1s to everyone because he doesn't have the core bullshit, so he gives the Mastodon reroll 1s.
There you go.
Which is kind of nice.
That thing comes with, I think, stock standard. It's got that multi-melter cannon, which is like
6 melter shots.
Blast. It's got the blast rule, hasn't it?
No, not on the melter shots.
Does it not? Okay. You can then put the side sponsons. You can put heavy flamers
standard. 2 heavy flamers, 2 las cannons, siege melter array, Sky Reaper battery, which is flat 4 damage versus aircraft. And it actually has a decent melee profile at strength 9, AP -2, D3 damage. 6 attacks.
You can put Volkite weapons on it, can't you?
No.
No? So what's the upgrades on the sponsons?
No upgrades.
Is it against...
Is there really not? Oh, I'm surprised.
Is it 4 damage against aircraft or flyers?
Aircraft.
That's...
It's sad times.
Yeah, but what's it damage against anything else? 3?
2. It's +1 to hit aircraft, but it's flat. So it's 8 shots, strength 7, -2, flat 2. But against aircraft, it gets +1 to hit and flat damage 4.
It's pretty terrifying.
That is pretty terrifying against flyers. Can you imagine? My Orc Wasgon blaster jet would get one shot by that thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say it should comfortably one shot.
Fucking should for 800 points.
Yeah,
I know, but what do you call the Space Marine fucking anti-aircraft thing? You know which one I'm on about? Where you either get the storm cannon array or the one-shot fucking multi-melter against flyers.
I don't know.
Hang on.
Never heard of this before.
Yes, you have. You must know. It's on a Rhino chassis.
A Rhino?
And it's the anti-aircraft. It's the anti-aircraft Space Marine thing. Hang on.
Not a Whirlwind, but one of those.
No.
He was the weird Icarus one.
I'm looking. There's the Whirlwind, the Vindicator, the
Stalker.
Stalker. I've never heard of this.
Okay, so you need to Google this. So, Space Marine Stalker.
Okay, 6 shots at 7 -1 flat 2. It makes 2 hit rolls against the aircraft. So it's 12 shots at 7 -1 flat 2. That's kind of shit, actually.
Exactly. And how many points is that?
That's 115 points.
So that's 115 points. So your Mastodon's got a better weapon profile than that. Take off 115 points just for that weapon profile.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be a dedicated Space Marine anti-aircraft platform.
This is true.
Like the Mastodon, honestly, I think it's really underrated. Like, I love it. If I had, and I know you're going to say China cast, but still, like, I'd love one. I'd love to paint one up in fucking Blood Angels. Because I think Blood Angels would quite...
Well, it's going to get painted red, and it's probably only going to get played once. So you're welcome to play it randomly.
Oh, bollocks, lad. No. Bless you.
He's like, I'd love to play it, and then I offer, and he's like, haha, nah.
I will. Honestly, I genuinely will, as long as you don't stick any fucking corn symbols on it.
None of that heresy shit.
Yep. Yeah,
no, I joke. If you genuinely get one, mate, I'd love to give it a run out on the table. I really would.
Yeah, man, it would be nice to see it played after I get it.
Just for shits and gigs.
Because it's a cool model. It's a fun model.
It is.
I have absolutely no doubt in my mind it's going to suck shit.
I don't think it will. I think you're... Is it classed as core?
Mm-mm.
Fuck no.
It doesn't have the core. All right. Well, you'd be surprised with Forge World models. You never fucking know.
Vehicles don't have core except for dreads.
No, but you know what you can do? You can stick a fucking Primaris Tech Marine next to it and awaken it, and everything's hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s because it can't.
Who's right, you know?
Islands. Well, it won't be a fucking tech. Well, I don't know. You probably will get access to a Tech Marine or the equivalent of a Tech Marine. I know you've got the
Tech Marine.
Chaos.
You've already.
Chaos
well, no, you've already got this.
What's it called? Warpsmith.
Yeah, they get the Warpsmith.
And you've got the Spider Dude.
You see, there's a problem with the Spider Dude. He
only demon engines, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's only specifically demon engines.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Oh, fine. Just can you imagine an Iron Hands list with a Mastodon and then a fucking Tech Marine? Damn.
The problem is it's 800 points of not that much gun. Yes, it's a lot of gun.
It's 800 points of sit in the middle of the table and say, "Come at me, bro."
But you gotta get it there.
What's its movement? It's got to be 12.
No, I'm afraid not. It's 10.
It's 10. Right.
Keep in mind you've got to maneuver it to the center of the board.
It's mainly there to put like 30 dudes in it, right?
Yep. Tank a fuckload of shooting, and then spill 10 Terminators and 20 Berserkers into the front lines.
Exactly.
And
So
fire some melters
realistically, it's actually quite ideally placed because you've got smaller boards these days. So you stick it at the front of your deployment, turn it, which.
Hope
it's not going to die turn. It's definitely. I don't think it can die turn 1.
No, Ian.
Hang on.
No.
Hang on. Dan, your twin linked fire prisms.
Right, that's one particular instance.
Hang on, I need to do this maths. Are they heavy support? Fire prisms, yes. So it's 2 shots each, yeah?
Yeah.
So 4 shots hitting on 3s?
Yes, sir.
But let's say you auto hit one of them. So you're getting about 3 hits. You can auto wound one of them, so you're getting approximately 2 wounds.
Oh, because your void shield automatically displaces 1 to 0. And the second one goes, and then the second one goes through.
Yeah. Well, I get a 6-up save on it, but yeah.
Exactly. And then if you decide to slap a Tech Marine next to it, it regains 3 wounds.
Oh, and it's got 2 void shields, so even if 2 go through, it just turns off 2 void shields.
So he has 3 shots, 2 of them on a beautiful day, all 3 hit and do the damage. 2 of them are negated straight away, and then the last one does a maximum of how much, Dan?
3d3.
6.
3d3.
3d3, so 9.
All right.
And then you regenerate 3 the next turn from your Tech Marine.
And that's probably the most it's gonna take turn 1.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
Huh.
Like, okay, I'm trying to think of like biggest damage dealers.
Knights.
Knights. Yeah.
Knights are gonna be the main one.
Yeah. They'll probably break.
But even they're gonna be wounding on 5s, man.
That's true.
Even
Oh
with
yeah,
the
of course the T9, yeah.
Yeah. Like, honestly, a Mastodon, I think, in today's meta isn't a bad shout. I think the only reason you don't see a lot more of them is because of the price point.
Nobody fucking owns one.
Exactly, you're not obtaining them. That's the thing, because if you think about it, the boards are getting smaller in this edition. It's full of short to medium range weapons. It's hard as fucking nails. And it can dish out. I mean, when you're talking about between the melter cannon, the anti-air thing, even if you're shooting at ground targets, you know, all right, okay, you're only doing damage 2, did you say, instead of damage? Do you know what I mean? Damage 2 ain't too bad. Like, damage 1's crap because, like, Contempt of Dreads and that negating it, and you'd lose the first one. All right, damage 2, you can see is a bit, but it's still damage 2, and that's its like tertiary weapon. Its main weapons are the melter cannon, the las cannons, which again I know I think it is mainly this channel, and like our luck with las cannons are always abominable.
Yep.
But I think generally in the meta, las cannons aren't too bad. Like D6 potential damage, especially like I say, if the thing's got a tech priest next to it, so you're hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s or 3s, and then you're doing D6 damage.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And these are your secondary weapons. Your melter cannons your first, the las cannons are the second, and was it heavy flamers?
Heavy flamers and
heavy flamers, auto hitting 18-inch range or 12. Only because it's Forge World. I'm going to say 12, but it could be 18, just because it's Forge World.
The heavy flamers are 12
heavy flamers.
12 inches. 12
inches,
inches,
right.
5 minus 1 1.
Yep.
Well, there you go. Do you know what I mean? Auto hitting, like it's going to take out anything chaff wise, guard, Eldar. It's fucking Tau. It's just going to chew through.
I mean, keep in mind, it's got some melee as well for the memes.
And then, like you say, it's got the melee. Like I say, I genuinely, I think it's an underrated platform. Like I say, I think the only reason you don't see more Mastodons is the price point of taking them.
it's definitely. I don't think it's the optimal thing to do,
God,
but
no.
it's such a bizarre choice that
you're like it's an anti-meta build at the minute.
I wouldn't say anti-meta.
definitely not anti-meta.
I
Well,
think
alright,
it's just
then
a skew. It's just a skew.
Yeah, it's a skew. That's a better way of putting it. It's so
a-
far
you
out the left
throw
field.
this brick of 2 kilos of resin on the table, and a couple of armies, not many, go, "Oh fuck, what?"
Yeah.
Not to mention, I think it's an easy one to misplay against because
Yeah.
people are never gonna. They've never
Yeah.
seen or will see it again.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I genuinely think it would be fun to play, and that's the main thing. Like, I'm sorry, as far as I'm concerned,
That's the idea.
like as far as I'm concerned, it would be a fucking giggle. It's a bit like when we went to the tournament and I had that Blood Angels list, and everybody's like, "Well, what does it do?" And that was the funniest thing because everybody was waiting for something, and it's like, what does it do? Like, it doesn't do fucking anything. It's just a load of dreadnoughts and fucking random shit that I want to get paid.
think it was
but it threw people just because it was so random. Like they were like, well, I'm expecting.
Of that tournament was when you're against a really good like tournament Tau player, and he was like, What's the play? What's
the play?" And I'm like,
what's he gonna do?
"There is no play." He's like, "Fuck off."
I think that guy thought you were Galaxy Brain, but you were like Smooth Brain, and he didn't realize.
No, I'm Connect 4 as we well know.
Yeah, that's good. Anyway, we've fucking gone on a tirade of fucking Armour of Contempt.
We are.
Like,
I'm sorry, Nathan, because I've
right.
took it off rails.
We've
still got 10 minutes. Come on, what did you want to talk about?
I mean, we've spoken about the general sort of. It has improved Marines, even Chaos Space Marines. Chaos Space Marines, and obviously Emperor's Children have started placing in events, which is always interesting. The only issue with Chaos is obviously then you have 1 wound, which is a bit problematic. But
isn't there a new Lucius model as well?
I have no idea.
I think there is.
Oh, not Lucius.
I know what we haven't spoken about. Fucking Sisters of Battle. Holy shit!
Yeah, they've took it.
Dude, that army hurts so bad with Armour of Contempt.
They are, some would argue, and I'm kind of with them, they are the main beneficiaries of Armour of Contempt.
Absolutely.
Because other buffs to their resistance would have not made a difference, right? They're already sort of being wounded on 2s and 3s anyway, which was their main issue. But now, it's like, yeah, you can wound me on a 2 or a 3, but I'm saving on a 3.
Yep.
And maybe on a 2.
It is frightening. I think when I played Sisters, I won, like I mentioned it in the group chats and to people several times. I played my best game, and David made several fuck-ups. He fed me units over and over and over again, and I only won by 2 points, and he nearly tabled me, and I was like, I nearly lost to an army where the pilot had about half as much experience as me. What the fuck do I do against this?
You lose. That's what you do.
Pretty much. Like, they're absolutely terrifying. The amount of durability on T3 models, combined with the fact that their entire army is AP4, is
melters are awesome, dude.
Insane.
Melters and what they call the melee guys. Yeah.
Holy shit. Repentia, fucking Zephyrim with their stupid ass melee profile. Zephyrim, they get so many attacks, dude. It's criminal.
Zephyrim the flyers with the 2 pistols?
No, that's
pistols.
No, they have power swords.
They've got power swords, and my god, they hurt. They've got a bunch of strats to make them hurt good. And obviously the Hospitaller and everything, yes. Yeah.
There is a Sisters unit, the jump pack one, that can take 2 melter pistols, though, isn't there?
Seraphim.
Seraphim, yeah.
I don't think they can take melter pistols anymore.
Can they not?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think it's dual bolt pistols, and I think the superior can take a Inferno pistol or whatever. I'm not sure. It's I don't know the army that well, but yeah, I think the dual melter pistol on the entire squad has gone the way of the dodo. But they don't need it because they have retributors with melters. They've got Paragon warsuits with melters, and holy fucking shit, mortarfires with their heavy flamers. Like a squad of 3 mortarfires with 2d6 heavy flamers each that are like 6 minus. Is it 6 minus 1 or something? Crackers.
Yeah,
absolutely crackers. Yeah, man, sisters. I feel sorry for anyone that has to play against them.
It's weird with the sisters as well within the whole Armour of Contempt, because they went from like OP down to shite back to OP again.
Yeah,
they weren't shite. They really didn't go down to
shite. They were OP because they could take mixed orders, so they could pick and choose which order and have certain units in certain orders to make them super efficient. They took that away, and so they went from like an S tier army to A tier, and then they got Armour of Contempt, and now they're like upper A, bottom S tier now.
I think what this ultimately shows, in the grand scheme of things, that it is a Games Workshop have applied the whole Band-Aid to a bleeding heart, and it's really helped some factions across the Imperium and Chaos, and it's done fuck all for others.
Like orcs, my poor baby boys.
Yeah, Imperial Fist players, again, my heart goes out here.
Enjoy you know re-rolling wounds versus fortifications, lance.
Exactly. I mean, to be fair, actually, do you know who might have a quiet like
cry
not necessarily recognize quiet shout is the Raven Guard? With certain units, if you spam things like them snipers that you couldn't shift,
eliminators,
because bear in mind they get light cover in the open.
Yeah, like, the problem with Raven Guard is their chapter tactic is like +1 to hit characters in melee or some shit. Like, who cares?
No, you're right. But like again, it's a little quiet buff for them if you're a Raven Guard player. I think the big going back to it, like you say, big winners: Sally's, Blood Angels, fucking Deathwatch, Dark Angels, Chaos Side.
In a weird way, Death Guard got worse.
Really?
Because yes, they've got Armour of Contempt, but so did everybody else. And all of Death Guard's weapons are like AP nothing or AP 1. And so Death Guard continue to be tanky as fuck, but they don't kill anything.
Hang on, what's the Death Shroud axis? Because the Death Shroud got OBSEC.
Yeah, I mean Death Shroud are core, and I think their weapons are at -3. I think.
Yeah, Death Shroud aren't OBSEC. It's the Blight Lords that are OBSEC.
Oh, both Blight Lords and Death Shroud got OBSEC.
Yeah.
Didn't they?
Are you sure? I thought it was just Blight Lords.
Not all the Terminators got OBSEC. I'm sure they did. Hang on.
But anyway, yeah. So I don't know. Death Guard, I'm not 100% sold on because they're still slow as shit. And their killing power didn't improve because everybody else got Armour Contempt as well. Yeah, I'm just looking at the tournament results from the last 7 days, and Death Guard are at 39%.
They just don't have the killing power against others.
They just can't kill very much compared to anyone else. Yes, they're tanky, but that only gets you so far. Kind of like
it becomes a very predictable gameplay plan.
Yeah, where a good opponent can easily come around it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they only move 5 inches. If they advance, they can't really do anything. They don't have much of a delivery method unless you're taking Terrax assault drills or whatever they're called, Terrax terminite things. And and all their stuff is not very killy. They're basically tankier custodies, but without guns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, anything else?
So
Anyone else?
overall, are we happy with the rule? Is I think the main thing.
I think it added a breath of fresh air to a meta.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think it made a lot of data sheets viable that weren't previously viable.
It's a net positive. It's maybe not the best way to implement.
I don't like sweeping changes.
It's fine.
Well, I'm gonna end the conversation with what would you have done?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's again. I think it's more of a systematic problem at the moment, more than anything. They try to do something, and they tried to. They wanted the game to be a bit more engaging, so they shrunk the board size.
Pumped up AP. They wanted to make games quicker as well, didn't
they? Yeah, that was sort of their main aim, right? So they made the board smaller. They made armies have less models. And now it's just
okay.
When you have less models, the problem with having less models, right, is every model you lose is that much more painful. So, with how killy everything is, you can lose quite a lot quite quick, and it's very hard to make a comeback.
It exacerbates the issue of elite armies a lot more as well.
Yeah.
I think what was really interesting, Nathan, do you remember when we did that little mini tournament where it was kind of the build-up?
Oh, the Escalation League, yeah.
Yeah. I'd quite like if we have the opportunity to kind of revisit that thing, just to see what it does in the meta, because we're always talking about the same 2,000-point armies. And again, I think it would be interesting to see how that works out on a...
The game is not very well balanced at all.
Well, it's not very... Well, no, it's not, Dan. That's the whole point. Do you know what I mean?
500 points would be a shit show for certain armies.
Well, exactly. But the thing is, the competitive scene kind of rests between 1,500 to 2,000 points, correct?
Nobody plays. I no serious tournament plays less than 2,000 points or more than 2,000 points. There was a time where people would play 1750.
I was going to say there's a fair few RTTs that play 1750, but no GTs or majors or super majors play anything less than 2,000. But there are a couple of RTTs that play 1750.
Let's still go back to my question. You're at the head. You're sat in Nottingham. Instead of doing Armour of Contempt, what would you have done?
I wouldn't release rules in a book 12 months before they actually release. Ignore playtesters when they tell you something's wrong, and then release a chapter-approved balance update 6 months later that was designed 12 months prior to that to solve problems that are 12 months old.
Okay, I'll rephrase the question. You're dropped in the middle of the shit. What would you do?
Sack the game designer.
No, what would you do? You're dropped in the middle of the shit. What would you do?
Make all future rules digital and editable digital.
Nathan, I'm trying to get into the context of Armour of Contempt.
Yeah, I think he wants a more, instead of Armour of Contempt, how would you balance the game, right?
You can't just make a change.
I'm not asking you to balance the game. I'm just saying if you had to make one decision to improve Space Marines that wasn't Armour of Contempt.
That's the problem. The problem is that it's not one decision. It's multiple decisions. They need to visit things in more than just a vacuum. They can't just go, oh, this entire 20 armies will get this one rule. And that'll fix them.
Yes.
You can't do that. You have to visit every single faction and go, Imperial Fists probably shouldn't reroll wounds versus fortifications. Let's give them something useful. Ultramarines should probably be able to fall
Give
back
them
and
back-
still score.
Give them back the old fucking bolter drill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you can't just go wham flex tape on Space Marines. There we go. We fixed the game. Give us a pat on the back. There's no one decision that fixes anything. It's a case of you released this shit. Now you've got to go back and fix it. It's like a developer developing an app, releasing it. It has loads of bugs, and they go, we don't really give a shit. We're gonna design the next thing because we're not interested in fixing that old thing. And then after complaints of 6 months, they go, here you go. Here's Armour of Contempt.
But that's the sad thing. We are in that kind of situation, aren't we?
Yeah, but that's what needs to change.
Yeah, but it's not going to, because unfortunately we're already in the position where, how can I put it? It's a bit of a sad state of affairs, but digitally we've gone from human beings to consumers. And it's the same reason why big game developers like EA and shit release FIFA and COD and that kind of thing and Battlefield, and it's full of bugs, and then you buy it on day one, you pay the premium price, and then you have to wait 6 to 12 months while they fix the bugs, and then you get that glory period of 3 to 6 months where it works properly as it should, and then you buy in the next game. And that's the sad reality.
It's a tricky one. I don't think you can. In a way, I'd say you can't really compare a video game to a tabletop game. But I do agree with Nathan in terms of making rules digital and free and available.
You could fix anything
because then it's a lot easier to fix rules
digitally. Yeah.
Of course you can.
You got a 40k app. If a faction's broken, you just tweak the rules. Then everybody on planet Earth who plays Warhammer, their rules on their app get updated. Everybody's got the new rules. I was listening to a podcast, right? And someone was saying, oh, there's like 50 different FAQs, numerous balanced data slates. What about those people who don't follow Warhammer community? There are people in the world who are currently playing Warhammer 9th edition on their kitchen table, and they aren't using FAQs, they aren't using balanced data slates, they're not using chapter approved, they're just using the book that they bought from the shop because they think that's the rules of the game. And they're probably still running fucking Drakari back when their book dropped OP as shit.
Yes.
Or because they insist on releasing the rules as books. If they just release the rules digitally and could update them ad hoc as and when tweaks needed doing, then everything could be fixed instantaneously.
I don't for 1 second disagree with you. The problem is with those consumers are, as far as corporate's concerned, they are the plebs. Because let's be honest, this game, since the early 90s, is being marketed towards the middle upper class children, which then go on to be university students and then come back because, or what have you. You get the few, and I'm being brutally honest, you get the few like me that were working class that got absorbed, could never really afford to play the game in its infancy when you were a kid, and then you come back as an adult with disposable income and you go back and you go full ham.
That doesn't excuse the.
What doesn't make sense? That's what I'm saying. The few that are playing by the old system are the plebs.
Yeah, but it's irrelevant.
It's not. From a marketing point of view, it's not. Games Workshop don't care about those people that are playing.
Quite on the contrary. It's completely the opposite. The competitive the competitive player base like us is the minority.
Yeah.
We're the minority here, and in a way, that's why things don't get moved along, because they don't. It's not worth them investing that much time in all the testing and stuff. And
that's where I disagree, because they went through that. They've gone through that period through the late 90s and the early 2000s where they didn't give a shit about the competitive scene. They're completely disengaged from the community in general. They put out what they want, when they want, how they want it, and it was a bit like, fuck you, live with it or whatever.
Unfortunately, they're now a very large company with a very large player base, with very large investors.
Well, exactly. And this is the thing. If you think about it, like, honestly, like, genuinely, what, 8, 9 years ago, they didn't give a shit. And then all of a sudden...
I don't think it was a matter of giving a shit. I think back then they were very bad at communication, and they were still very old school in terms of everything, right? Back then they were still like, it's fine, we'll release a book, and that's the game, and then we're done.
Which is my point, Dan. That's my point, which kind of contradicts your earlier one. Like, now they are more engaged in the community than they have been ever, which is a good thing. And like you say, yes, the competitive scene is a narrow player base, but they understand that that narrow player base can actually contribute to quite a lot of their sales, from the point of view that they make an army OP and all of the competitive player base are going to buy that army. You know,
I get what you're saying.
They're not stupid, do you know what I mean? They have a corporate strategy. But going back to what Nathan says, he's right in the sense that there are people that haven't got access to Warhammer community, that etc., that haven't downloaded all of the latest fucking updates and files and whatever, that are still playing tabletop games on the thing. And to be fair to them, they're probably happier than we are as competitive players.
Much.
Oh, come on. Like, you know what I mean? Ignorance is bliss. I genuinely think to a point where, like, there will be, because they don't give a shit. Like, yes, they would like access to it.
He's right, but there's not... It's a weird one, right? Yes, there is a lot of people, right? Those are the silent majority. But that's the thing, they're the silent majority. Just because they don't say anything about it doesn't mean it's...
They're not necessarily happy with it, yeah, which is fair enough. But I still go back to my point, which is the whole Games Workshop ethos is it's aimed at middle to upper class kids, and then they will go away, go to university, drop off for a while, and then come back as adults and play the game. Because let's be honest, I mean, as far as a hobby goes, it's up there with golf.
Yeah. I
mean, you look at a price point entry and you're talking about 300 quid. Your average working class family hasn't got 300 quid to blow on one of their kids into a game that they may or may not play for the next 6, 12 years and then later on in their life. Do you know what I mean? Like, True. That is the reality of it.
Anyway,
so,
before we get on to more corporate talk, I will end it there.
Sorry, dude, I didn't mean to end on a downer. I didn't. Oh, I need me Warhammer joke.
Okay.
Okay, so Lord Commander Uxella Creed walks up to the governess, Cassandra, and she turns around and says, "My name's Governess Cassandra the Third, blah, blah, blah. You can call me Cat for short." Creed turns around and goes, "I am Uxella Canada Creed, but you can call me Dick for short." And Cat looks at him and goes, "How the hell do you get Dick from Creed, Cassandra, blah, 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 blah?" And he goes, he looks at her, winks at her, and says, "You ask nicely."
Got him.
As Clarkson would say on that bombshell.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, God. See you guys later.
Good night. Oh, God.